All right, guys, this is Mike with Velvet Outdoors, and today we're looking at the Civilware Striker. Okay, guys, before we get going, let me give you some specs. 7.5-inch ambidextrous genuine leather black sheath. Civilware right over the center, holds the knife very, very well. The knife itself, the goods. Here it is, 8.5 inches in total length. It's got a 4-inch blade with a 4.5-inch base, micarta handle. I love micarta. When you're out in the elements, it's maybe the best handle on the market because when it gets wet, it tends to have a little bit more bite to it, and the knife's not going to slip out of your hand so easily like with some more traditional handles. The knife itself, 1095 carbon steel. So, what are the good things about the 1095 carbon steel? It keeps an edge so well. This knife, super sharp, and it's going to be sharp for a while. And when I do need to sharpen it, it's very easy to sharpen. Also, 1095 is highly wear resistant. This is a knife that is going to outlive me and my kids. So take good care of it. So what are the gripes with 1095? Well, rust. That's really the biggest one. So in my experience, I did get a little bit of rust on it because that's because I didn't care for it the way that it was meant to be. This thing should be cared for like it's your favorite gun. Keep some gun oil on it. Put some vegetable oil or some canola oil. Keep it dry. Never put it in a wet sheath. When you're storing it, store it in a dry place. If you do those things, you're going to be able to keep rust away from it very easily. Here's my thoughts on the knife. First of all, made in USA. Cheers to you guys at Civilware. It's nice that there's a company making such a beautiful product in San Diego that is really constructed very well. So, here's some of the other things. I think the knife overall is a gorgeous knife. In fact, it might be one of my favorites, or it is definitely one of my favorites. That being said, one of the things I do like about it is the grooves right here. I think it adds a really nice touch. But what it also does is it creates space for debris and water to get in there. And I'm not saying that's why the knife rusted, because in fact my rust came right there. But you can see that I do have some debris in the grooves of the knife. And that takes away from the aesthetic a little bit. But you know what? It's used. It's going to get beat up. And it wasn't that big of a deal, but it's just one of the things I noticed. We know the shortcomings with carbon steel. And as long as I continue to care for it, I shouldn't have any more rust problems. And honestly, a wire brush is going to take out the debris, no problem. Other than that, I've said my piece about the micarta handle. I think it's one of the best handles on the market. Massive blade, solid tool by the guys at Civilware that has done just about everything I've needed it to. In fact, I can't think of anything it hasn't been able to do over the last 4 months. So, if you want to know more about this knife, here's a link to the site at Civilware. They did not pay us to put it there, and I am not compensated in any way if you end up purchasing the knife. I would highly recommend it, especially if you're a collector, because I think it's just a great knife. If you're somebody who's using fixed blade knives on a regular basis, you will not fall short with this knife. It's going to hold up to everything as long as you continue to care for it, just like the Civilware guys say. I'm not saying anything that's not already on their website. So, comment in the comments below. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them and myself, or maybe one of the guys at Civilware will. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for checking us out. And this is Mike with Velvet Outdoors.